Good morning, sweet friends, pals, and confidants. It is Monday morning, the 6th of July. It's July. Whoa. And it's hot here in St. Augustine. Well, I've been cleaning house, so I'm hot. Got my coffee. What are you drinking? It's my second cup because I had breakfast early and then I cleaned the house and did some laundry and prayed about y'all, wrote my pen pal. And so now I want to get back to Moses. I know he's probably looking at me. Oh, no, he's outside. I put him out on the lanai. We bought a, well, I bought a grass pad because we're going to be getting into our rainy season, and he will not go outside when it's raining. He absolutely will not. So I bought real grass. It's about, I don't know, about 3 feet long, about a foot and a half wide for him to go on, and it's out in the lanai. So I've got him out there. I'm also expecting a friend to visit this morning, so I may have to pause this when she gets here. She's wanting to do some sourdough starter, so I'm going to give her one of my cast iron Dutch ovens because I have 4, 5, too many. And 2 of them I don't even use anymore, so I'm going to give her one. I fed my starter this morning. I even made sourdough discard pancakes this morning. And while it was filling, they were not the tastiest things. So I need to find a recipe. I just kind of threw things in it, some milk, some flour, some baking soda, some vanilla, a little milk, an egg, and sourdough starter, of course, and flour. But maybe I was supposed to use baking powder. I'll check out some recipes online and see what they use. That's probably where I made my mistake because it had just had a, yeah, I don't know what kind of taste, but it wasn't great. But I'm full. So that's what's important. And sourdough is good for you. So there's that too. So Allie Parsons, who we are sharing her Bible study right now, I found out she is a minister at 1122 and is a writer, and she's very good. And honestly, I love this study. So we're going to get right into it and move some things so I don't spill, which I do sometimes. So I believe I read to you the introduction to this Bible study. And week 1 is Exodus 1 through 4, and it says, in week 1, we will meet Moses. We will study his early years that lead us to the moment his life is no longer about capacity, but about the character of God who says, I will be with you. So I wrote this little reminder up here of where Moses came from. We started out with Abraham, then we went to Isaac. Isaac had Jacob and Esau, but the Israelites come through the Jacob line. And then Jacob had 12 sons, one of who was Joseph. We remember Joseph. Joseph is the one that brought them all to Egypt to escape the famine. And then one of the brothers is Levi. Now, Levi is the priestly line, and that is the line that Moses and his brother Aaron come from. And so Moses made his brother the head honcho, the head priest, and all his sons were made priests. So that's where it comes from. So this says, day 1, read Exodus chapter 1. So we're going to do that real quick. I should have had my Bible open, but I did not. Been so busy this morning, and busy is good, especially when you're old. I start my new job this week, finally. I'm so excited. And I hope that I can keep up with my housework and cooking and baking along with having a new job. Okay. Exodus chapter 1. The Israelites in Egypt. These are the names of the sons of Israel, that is Jacob, who moved to Egypt with their father, each with his family: Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, Benjamin, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, and Asher. In all, Jacob had 70 descendants in Egypt, including Joseph, who was already there. In time, Joseph and all his brothers died, ending that entire generation. But their descendants, the Israelites, had many children and grandchildren. In fact, they multiplied so greatly that they became extremely powerful and filled the land. Eventually, a new king, Pharaoh, came into power in Egypt who knew nothing about Joseph or what he had done. He said to his people, "Look, the people of Israel now outnumber us and are stronger than we are. We must make a plan to keep them from growing even more. If we don't, if war breaks out, they will join the enemies and fight against us. Then they will escape from the country." That's a little paranoia, in my opinion, because as far as I could tell, they made no effort to overpower the Egyptians and take over the country. There's nothing anywhere that says that they did that or wanted to do that. So the Egyptians made the Israelites their slaves. They appointed brutal slave drivers over them, hoping to wear them down with crushing labor. They forced them to build the cities Pithom and Ramses as supply centers for the king. But the more the Egyptians oppressed them, the more the Israelites multiplied and spread, and more alarmed the Egyptians became. So the Egyptians worked the people of Israel without mercy. They made their lives bitter, forcing them to mix mortar and make bricks and do all the work in the fields. They were ruthless in their demands. Then Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, gave this order to the Hebrew midwives, Shiphrah and Puah. I'm probably slaughtering those names. Shiphrah and Puah. When you help the Hebrew women as they give birth, watch as they deliver. If the baby is a boy, kill him. If it's a girl, let her live. But because the midwives feared God more than they feared Pharaoh, they refused to obey the king's orders. They allowed the boys to live too. So the king of Egypt called the midwives and said, "Why have you done this?" he demanded. "Why have you allowed the boys to live?" "The Hebrew women are not like other Egyptian women," said the midwives. "They are more vigorous and have their babies so quickly that we cannot get there in time." They lied. It's okay. I don't know if lying is okay to the government, but they were doing what God wanted them to do. So God was good to the midwives, and the Israelites continued to multiply, growing more and more powerful. And because the midwives feared God, they gave them families of their own. Then Pharaoh gave this order to all his people: "Throw every newborn Hebrew boy into the Nile River, but you may let the girls live." Wow. Okay, I'm just looking over this first day on here and see if I need to. Yeah, let's go ahead and read chapter 2. The birth of Moses. About this time, a man and a woman from the tribe of Levi got married. The woman became pregnant and gave birth to a son. She saw that he was a special baby and kept him hidden for 3 months. Don't we all think our baby boys are special? And our baby girls. We love our babies. We love our children. But when she could no longer hide him, she got a basket made of papyrus reeds and waterproofed it with tar and pitch. She put the baby in the basket and laid it among the reeds along the bank of the Nile River. The baby's sister then stood at a distance watching to see what would happen to him. Soon Pharaoh's daughter came down to bathe in the river, and her attendants walked along the river bank. When the princess saw the basket among the reeds, she sent her maid to get it for her. When the princess opened it, she saw the baby. The little boy was crying, and she felt sorry for him. This must be one of the Hebrew children. So she knew all along this was not an Egyptian baby. She knew. Plus, why would an Egyptian mother put her baby in a basket in the Nile? She had no reason. Their babies were safe. So she said this must be one of the Hebrew children. Then the baby's sister approached the princess. Should I go and find one of the Hebrew women to nurse the baby for you? She asked. Yes, do, the princess replied. So the girl went and called the baby's mother. Take this baby and nurse him for me. For me, the princess told the baby's mother. I will pay you for your help. So she's paying her to take care of her own baby. So the woman took her baby home and nursed him. Later, when the boy was older, his mother brought him back to Pharaoh's daughter, who adopted him as her own son. So he became royalty. Princess named him Moses, for she explained, I lifted him out of the water. Many years later, when Moses had grown up, he went out to visit his own people, the Hebrews. Now, he knew all along he was Hebrew. It wasn't a secret. Okay. And he saw how hard they were forced to work. During his visit, he saw an Egyptian beating one of his fellow Hebrews. After looking in all directions to make sure no one was watching, Moses killed the Egyptian and hid the body in the sand. Now, in the movie, The Ten Commandments, it makes it look like an accident that he accidentally killed the Egyptian, but that's not what this says. He looked all around, make sure no one was looking, and he killed him and hid his body in the sand. The next day, when Moses went out to visit his people again, he saw two Hebrew men fighting. Why are you beating up your friend? Moses said to the one who started the fight. The man replied, Who appointed you to be our prince and judge? Are you going to kill me as you killed the Egyptian yesterday? Oops. Then Moses was afraid, thinking, everyone knows what I did. And sure enough, Pharaoh heard what had happened, and he tried to kill Moses. But Moses fled from Pharaoh and went to live in the land of Midian. When Moses arrived in Midian, he sat down beside a well. Now the priest of Midian had 7 daughters, who came as usual to draw water and fill the troughs for their father's flock. And when I read this, I think about the movie The Ten Commandments and how he immediately fell in love with the oldest daughter. But some other shepherds came and chased them away. So Moses jumped up and rescued the girls from the shepherds, then drew water for their flocks. When the girls returned to Reuel, their father, he asked, Why are you back so soon? An Egyptian rescued us from the shepherds, they answered, and then he drew water for us and watered our flocks. Then where is he? Their father asked. Why did you leave him there? Invite him to come and eat with us. Moses accepted the invitation and he settled there with him. In time, Reuel gave Moses his daughter Zipporah to be his wife. Later, she gave birth to a son, and Moses named him Gershom, for he explained, I have been a foreigner in a foreign land. Years passed, and the king of Egypt died, but the Israelites continued to groan under their burden of slavery. They cried out for help, and their cry rose up to God. God heard their groaning, and he remembered his covenant promise to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And he looked down on the people of Israel, and he knew it was time to act. So I'm going to go here to Allie's Bible study. It says, how are the Israelites described in Exodus chapter 1, verse 7? And I'm just going to read my answers. Many children and grandchildren, multiplied greatly, extremely powerful, and they filled the land. That's how the Bible describes the Israelites. excuse me, in this verse. And then Allie writes, before Moses came on the scene, we must set the scene of Israel and Egypt at this time. The new king of Egypt did not know Joseph. A quick history lesson for you. Joseph is of the bloodline of Abraham. We already went through that. I'm going to skip that. Between that and where we are in Exodus, those families, the people of Israel, have continued to multiply and grow. They've always lived peacefully under Pharaoh because of Joseph's legacy. Well, now there is a new Pharaoh in town, and as we can see in Exodus 1 verse 8, he does not know Joseph. Ooh. Because of the new Pharaoh is not stoked on the Israelites, his solution is, I didn't write it. His solution was to kill all the baby boys. Well, first they tried to work them to death, and that only made them stronger. And then he tried to kill the baby boys. I'm going to write that down so I don't feel like I skipped that question. Okay, overwork and kill the boys, the baby boys, the newborn baby boys. What happens to the Israelites under the new Pharaoh with both work and their families? He made them slaves, and then he tried to kill all the baby boys. Why is Pharaoh going for the sons of Israel, hoping to wear them down with crushing labor? The midwives are heroes in this chapter. How are the midwives a part of God's army, and what is God's response? Ziphrah and Puah, they are told to kill the boys when they are born, but they did not follow the Pharaoh's orders. They allowed all the babies to live. God protected and rewarded them. And what are we already learning about God in Exodus 1? He protects his children. I wrote protection. The Israelites continued to multiply and growing more and more powerful. While Pharaoh is technically in a seat of power, we immediately just see how powerless this man really is against the Almighty God. He thinks he can wipe out an entire people group by killing the Israelite boys, but it's clear he has no idea who he's up against. God's promise to Abraham is being played out, and he cannot and will not be defeated. In life, we all have giants, like Pharaoh, but in light of an almighty God, it changes everything. Whatever you wrote for number 5, reflect on it here in light of your own life. And this is what I wrote. If you want to write things out on a piece of paper, or you want to order this book, I did not see it on Amazon. I looked for it, but you can go to the Church of 1122 website and order it there. Just Google Church of 1122. It'll take you to the website. I wrote, he protects and rewards. He had done this my whole life. I'm so very thankful for his protection and provision. On day 2, I'm going to go ahead. I'm just going to do the first question. And I'm going to mark this. Who are the 3 women involved in Moses' birth and childhood? In Exodus 2, chapters 2 to 3 and verse 8, it lists his mother, obviously. Exodus 2, verse 4 and 7, his sister. And then Exodus 2, 5 to 6, Pharaoh's daughter, his adopted mother. I want you to imagine this moment. If you are a parent, imagine the first time you held your baby. Now imagine placing that baby in a basket and sending him down the river with no idea what is going to happen to him. And remember that Nile River was full of crocodiles. We have alligators. Well, we do have crocodiles here in Florida, but they're not as many as the alligators. And we have a lot. If there is water, there's an alligator. I have water all around us, so I know there's alligators all over the place. putting him in a basket and sending him down the river with no idea what's going to happen to him. This is not some fluffy Bible story. This is real life for Moses' mom. I imagine her just collapsing on the riverbank as she watches her baby boy, who she carried for 9 months, float down a river, likely towards death. She had no idea what God had in mind for Moses. And wow, what a plan God had for Moses. Okay, peoples, I love y'all. Tomorrow, Tuesday, we will finish chapter day 2 and probably go ahead and go on to day 3 and see how far we get. I love y'all. I hope you have a wonderful day. It's going to take me forever to upload this because I'm having problems with my internet. Oh well. Love y'all. Bye.